Hi, my name is Dawn Kennedy. I'm a district English as a second language educator in Hardin County Schools. And I have had a love of culture and other nations and travel since I was a little girl. And we're here at New Highland Elementary School. And instead of focusing on civil rights, although we do many lessons and activities around that during Black History Month, we have chosen to celebrate Black African cultural history. And I lived in Africa when I was a young woman. I lived with an African family as part of a school exchange, and I got to teach English as a foreign language in a high school, work in a clinic, and even deliver a couple of babies. But what I wanted to do, or the heart of why I'm doing this, is I know that a lot of our students understand civil rights and those things, but they don't understand the richness and beauty of their own culture. And living in Africa, I learned that I had some stereotypes and misunderstandings, and that there's such a rich, beautiful history of art, of literature, of leadership, and all kinds of things. And so we've decorated here. Many of the teachers and administrators and even students from our school contribute items to loan to us for our display. But many of these things are from my personal collection and things that I just wanted to share with others. Because we can have students read things, we can have them write about it and talk about it, but when they see visually and experience things, it takes their learning to a deeper place. Here we have an Egyptian throne, and for all my animal lovers, this is vegan, but it helps us to know about the beauty of the animals and wildlife that are in Africa, and just to remind us that I think as Americans, we think of Africans as like underprivileged or struggling, and there are a lot of things that we need to talk about and try to solve. There's also wealth and leadership and rulers really of the known world at that time, and it's important for us to remember that. Over here we have some clothing, traditional African clothing. The designs around here and the embroidery are very typical for like wedding dress or special occasions. This lovely dress actually belongs to our principal, Miss Packer. And then this piece here is tie-dyed, and these things that say Africa are literally tie-dyed, which is a big part of the art, and then this embroidery as well. This art piece here is from a galleried artist from Atlanta, and a couple of years ago he came here, set up the velvet barrier, the little velvet ribbons, and he shut down a gallery opening to come here and displayed his art. And his mother is actually someone that works with our students here, and he donated this piece to me, which was very generous, we'll say, and it's from a collection that the word in African means God loves me. And this one is called The Observer. Okay, over here, these clothing items are things that I bought when I lived in Africa. Actually, this piece, this dress was given to me. It's called a lapa, and it's a wrap skirt, and the women wrap it in such a way that they can run, but they don't use pins or anything. It's like a whole thing, like almost like a competition to see who can tie it the best and still be able to run. But this was given to me as a going away gift by the family I lived with. This is a lapa that I bought in the open markets in Liberia. And actually, a lot of people know that freed slaves, about 16,000 freed slaves, were taken to Liberia in the early 1900s, but what they don't know is the law and funding that started that actually came from Kentucky. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know, but the settlement there used to be called Liberia in Kentucky, or Kentucky and Liberia. And the capital is called Monrovia, named after James Monroe. here we have a lot of instruments. Africa has a rich musical history and had a huge impact on music in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and even coming forward. We use African rhythms and beats for jazz, blues, even rock and roll. And we know many of those musical greats, but those rhythms and those, the backbeat, all those kinds of things came from African cultural history. And then here, this is actually a sea turtle shell, and of course now that would be illegal, but the Africans actually eat those because the lands have been so overhunted that there's very little protein available, and so they eat the sea turtles, and then they're very efficient, almost like what we would think of Native Americans, where they use every part. And so they created art out of that. This is another piece by our artist that someone in our building had purchased. Then here, this is a Kwanzaa candelabra here. Some jewelry that I bought in Africa or was given to me when others went. We have the zebra and the tiger. This basket was given to me by a family from Zimbabwe. Some of these shells I collected on the beach there. And then this part, it has some figurines, some animals, and here's another picture by that same artist. And then just giving honor to the science and mathematics, and particularly those women that helped with the NASA launch and other inventions that we use every day.
My name is Patricia King. This morning I'm excited to be here at New Highland Elementary School to read to the students May Among the Stars. One of the reasons that it's good to read to our students and to inform them about some of our major contributions toward American history is that Black Americans, African Americans are important in this history. And if you don't know your past, you're bound to repeat it in the future. I'm a local entrepreneur here. Last year, I actually launched my own real estate brokerage company called Jade Realty Group. And I want to let the students know that the sky is the limit, and you can become and you can do whatever you set your mind to it. Don't be fazed about failure, and use your failure as a stepping stone to move towards your success. Thank you. Her mom took her hand and they started dancing. And she said to her, "You must always repeat to yourself, if I can dream it, if I can believe in it, and if I can work for it, anything is possible." May went on dreaming, believing, and working really, really hard. And guess what? She went to space and waved to her mom and dad on Earth. And here's a little bit about Dr. Mae Jemison. Mae Carol Jemison was born on October the 17th, 1956 in Decatur, Alabama. Mae always loved science. She loved being outside and looking up at the stars, knowing that one day she would travel to space. Mae is highly educated. She graduated from Morgan Park High School, and at the incredible age of 16, she enrolled in Stanford University, earning a Bachelor of Science degree in chemical engineering. After her MD in 1981 from Cornell Medical College, she briefly worked as a general practitioner before leaving to work with the Peace Corps. When Mae returned home, she decided to follow her childhood dream. Ms. Jemison applied for NASA's astronaut training program, and on June the 4th, 1987, she was accepted. Miss Jemison became the first African-American female astronaut. On September the 12th, 1992, Miss Jemison's dream finally came true when she traveled to space on the Space Shuttle Endeavour mission STS-47. It was then that May officially became the first African-American woman in space. May left NASA in 1993 and became the first real astronaut to work in an episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation. Today, she heads the Jemison Group and the Dorothy Jemison Foundation for Excellence. Ms. May speaks fluent Japanese, Russian, and Swahili. What an excellent, excellent, excellent lady, young child who followed her dreams.
My name is Niera Eanes. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I have a private practice in Vine Grove, Kentucky. Today I'll be reading to the kids Queen of the Track. And one thing about Black History Month that I'm super excited about is to get to share knowledge about all of the fantastic historically Black colleges and universities that some of the kids might not know about. So yeah, I'm excited to speak with all of the kids, and I'm also very excited to encourage everybody to be great, do all the fantastic things on the test this year, because I know all of them will be great and they'll do a great job. This is called Queen of the Track by Alice Coachman. Has anybody heard of her before? Nope. All right, we're gonna learn something new today. Alice Coachman was born to run and jump. On morning walks with her grandmother, Rachel, Alice skipped ahead through the fields. She hopped on rocks. She vaulted over anything that got in her way. As Alice got older, her papa told her to stop running and jumping. In the 1930s, a long time ago, running and jumping weren't considered ladylike. Besides, as one of 10 children, Alice had lots of chores to do. She got up early to cook cornbread and eggs. After school, she washed the clothes and hung them to dry. She picked cotton and peaches with her older brothers and sisters and took care of the younger children. Still, all Alice could think about was running and jumping. So when she was done with her chores, she'd sneak off to play sports with the boys. People said she was a crazy fool, and she knew Papa would punish her, but she couldn't pass up a chance to run and jump. There were no gyms, parks, and tracks where Alice could practice running and jumping. She didn't let that stop her. She ran barefoot on dirt roads. She collected sticks and tied rags together to make her own high jumps. Alice jumped so high she soared like a bird above the cotton fields. When Alice was in the 7th grade, the high school track coach noticed her talent. He convinced her parents to let her go with the team to the famous Tuskegee relays in Alabama. Has anybody been to Alabama? Okay. There, she could compete against top Black athletes from all over the country. For the first time in her life, Alice left Albany. She had never worn track shoes before or jumped over a real high jump bar. Alice won first place anyway, beating high school and college girls. Alice didn't use her running talent only to win ribbons. One night in 1940, a tornado twisted into Albany, destroying homes and injuring many people. For 2 weeks, Alice volunteered as a rescue worker. She moved so fast she could deliver food while it was still hot. No one thought Alice was a crazy fool then. That year, the track coaches from the Tuskegee Institute persuaded Alice's parents to let her finish high school at Tuskegee. The all-Black school was known for its excellent high school and college, as well as its athletes. Tuskegee gave Alice a scholarship to cover her tuition. In exchange for her room and board, she cleaned the gymnasium.
My name is Sharon Conley. I'm a school-based therapist for Cumberland Family Medical Center, a Healthy Kids Clinic in the school districts for Hardin County. Today I have the great pleasure of reading about one of our famous Black artists, Faith Ringgold. and which is really exciting for me because my son, who is also a black artist out of Atlanta, Georgia, the first year, 2 years ago, we were able to showcase his art here. So that really gives me an inspiration to speak more about the wonderful contributions in the art world that we as African Americans have presented. But one thing I'm really anxious and glad about is enlightening our students that Black history is American history. So with that information, I hope that we will truly expand their knowledge and understanding that no matter who you are, you have a voice, but most importantly, you do have a history. Thank you. In no time, we were walking on 7th Avenue with the giants of the Harlem Renaissance. Just like Uncle Bates said, I could hear the drum beats of a parade block away. Uncle Bates, I cried. I know, Lonnie, he said. A parade is coming, but let's eat breakfast first. Wells Restaurants has the best fried chicken, all right, and waffles this side of heaven. We're meeting my friend Jack there. So look at the gathering. Has anyone ever had waffles and chicken? It's very famous out of California. Good, isn't it? Waffles and chicken. So let's see what they're doing here. Hi, Jack, called Uncle Bates. Meet my nephew, Lonnie. Tell him how it feels to be Jack Johnson, the first Black heavyweight boxing champion of the world. It feels great, Lonnie, as great as eating fried chicken and waffles, smothered with hot buttered syrup. Dig in. After we eat, we'll look for Langston, your favorite poet. Breakfast was so good.
Hello, my name is DeMarcus Compton. I'm the assistant principal at Lincoln Trail Elementary School, and I am here at New Highland today to read the book Big Mission to a 5th grade group of students here at New Highland. I'm very excited to be here. Being an employee of Hardin County Schools, it's cool to see the collaboration that we have going on between Lincoln Trail and New Highland Elementary, and I'm very excited to talk about Black History Month. Just thinking of my experience as a student growing up in classes, we didn't talk about Black History Month so much, and so it's awesome to be here just to let kids know the importance of Black History Month, for students to learn important figures within the Black community. Guys, I know you all are going to be taking a big test in just a few weeks, and I just encourage you all to do your best, be great, and I know you're going to rock it. Thank you, but there's some place I've got to be, and Ron kept on walking. Down by the schoolyard, Ron saw his friend Carl shooting baskets. All right, oh, some basketballers in here. Raise your hand if you're a basketballer. Oh yeah, very good. All right, you made it, called Carl. Hi, Carl, said Ron. I wish I could stay, but I've got something important to do. More important than basketball on summer vacation? Said Carl. Are you kidding? Ron laughed. He loved to play basketball, but not today. Today was too important. Ron kept on walking. When Ron got to the Lake City Public Library, he stopped. This was it. He was hot from walking so fast, and he was nervous too. He took a deep breath, lifted his head high, and went inside.